Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 58 of Hump Day Hangouts. Today is the 16th of December. As you can hopefully tell, we are slowly approaching the holiday season. And I'll let everyone show off their gorgeous headwear here as we go through it. So how's it going, Chris? Sorry, no headwear for Chris, but how's it going?
Not today.
It's
Excellent.
the Grinch that stole Christmas.
Hernan, what's up, man?
Hey everyone, it's really good to be here. I have no hair, but I have some hair, so that should do.
And the soul patch. So, I mean, I think that's in competition with my beard. So I see a lot of comments about. Hey, Marco, what's up?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to make a Santa hat look cool. I was trying to pimp the headwear, but it ain't happening, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Bradley's killing it with the troll ear or the
like that?
elf ears. Right? Yeah.
Elf ears.
Yeah.
That's kind of. I got this with my daughter at Christmas Town over the weekend. She got a really tall Christmas tree hat that stands straight up. It was awesome, except that like whenever we sat down in front of people, she had to take it off because people couldn't see around it. All right.
Awesome.
I wasn't gonna leave it on for the entire webinar because it's hot, but I
Yeah.
did want to get a laugh out of it and give Wayne Clayton a meme opportunity.
It gives way too many meme opportunities.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm keeping mine on for the announcements. I kind of like it. I've worn this to parties before, so I don't know. It just feels comfortable. So I'll put on my running hat here in a minute. But,
You just wear that casually around the house, don't you?
Yeah, July, August, whatever. So, out in the woods, freak people out. So. All right, let's get the announcements out of the way, and then we'll get started. Real quick, I think we've mentioned it before. Wanted to tell everybody we're getting underway with IFTTT 2.0. We'll have some more information about that coming up, probably more towards the new year and after that. Our MGP secret project is coming through, and we will have some more information about that after the new year. Right now, all you get is an acronym and nothing else. So, let's see, what else? Good news. Hump Day Hangouts are going to continue through December. So we're going to have a Hump Day Hangout every single Wednesday through the year and just keep rolling, all right? And then I just wanted to remind everybody, head over to serpspace.com, sign up. It's a free account. We're going to be having some good things going on. All right, I got to do better than that. We're going to have some freebies and some good stuff coming up, so you want to have an account. So that's all I'm going to say for now.
Yep. And that's it for announcements?
I think so.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, get invalids free.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea. All right, so we got a lot of questions, it looks like, already. So this should be a pretty packed webinar, and I want to go ahead and jump right on them. So I'm going to grab the screen, and we'll get to it. Okay, you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let me lock it on there so it's not bouncing around. There we go. All right, so Ed Ryan, he's got another very thorough question, as he often does.
Holy
So,
moly.
hello, Ed. Number one, I have a Tier 1 blog post on a high PADA site, original content and images, not part of an IFTTT network. I'm afraid it might get deleted if it senses related content, RSS feeds, and auto-posting going on. With one exact match keyword contextual anchor in that post pointing to my money video. Is it okay to build links directly to that blog post URL directly from Syndwire, etc., to push the video up the page? I'm assuming you mean you've got a link, a Tier 1 blog post. I'm not quite following. Is somebody else following this? Like, is it?
I think it's like a third-party property, not inside the IFTTT network, but probably a Web 2.0 property or a PBN post that he had somehow besides IFTTT network.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you should be able to. I mean, that's if you're able to get, like, for example, if it's a PBN site, and I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying if it were, you can always build links to the PBN sites. That's going to certainly help. To the post where the link is pointing back to your site. It's a good way to do it. And in fact, that's also a good way to start theming the PBN in case it wasn't themed properly, is to start building inbound links to the PBN with that are topically relevant. So that's one way to do it. But it really doesn't matter whether it's a PBN or another Web 2. It could be a guest post somewhere. You can absolutely do that. In fact, one thing that I like to do for client work or for lead gen sites is find where, mainly client work, because for lead gen sites, they're sites that I built, so I'm mainly the one responsible for any links built to them. But for client sites, there's oftentimes links that get built to the sites either naturally or from previous SEO work that was done before I started, before I took over. And so I'll go find those, and then I'll start building links to those because it'll help to increase the power of those links. And sometimes you don't need to build any new links at all to the website. You just build them to the links that are already existing. So that's definitely something that you can do. If it's a property that you own, there's certain things that you'd want to be careful with. And you don't want to destroy somebody else's. So, for example, you don't want to spam somebody's site with a bunch of spam links because you're trying to juice that link. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. That's not a very nice thing to do. But I don't think you have to worry about that, Ed. So
well, yeah, that might backfire on you depending on where you're doing
correct.
it. So
that's correct.
Yeah, and that's something that I wanted to say. I mean, if it's a tier 1 and you care about that tier 1, the best thing that you could do is to actually take care of that tier 1. As you would with an IFTTT property. Take it really slow, really easy if you want to power that up. And please remember, guys, that sometimes websites, they just lost rankings because of the fact of link loss. And link loss not only for your website but also for your tier 1. And they will, slowly, you can see that they slowly start going down in rankings. So if that's your case, then you can reboost your tier 1s, and that usually helps a lot.
Yes, that's correct. So the next part would be would doing another new original article on another blog platform with another related keyword also help move this up page 1? Of course. I mean, again, that's the whole point. If you can, we like to use IFTTT networks and automate as much as possible because obviously we're looking to be able to scale. But if you're doing if you've only got one property or a couple properties, something that you're working on, only a handful of things that you're working on and trying to rank, then you can do stuff a lot more manually, and that's certainly going to help. Another thing that helps a lot is doing press releases. I'm a huge fan of press releases, especially right now. They're just really working well, and we're going to be doing some basic training on how to use press releases when we open that up. That feature up inside of Serp Space, which is going to be soon. You'll be able to order press releases, have them written and distributed right from inside of Serp Space. And so we're going to do some training on that for best uses or best practice, how to optimize them and that kind of thing. And press releases would be a great way. If you've got, for example, you could actually build links to that blog post that you mentioned in the first part of your question using press releases, which will really boost it. Or you could actually use press releases to link directly to the video itself. That's another great strategy. Some press release distributions will allow you to actually embed a video. Not many, but some will. So that would help as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do for that. Anything like that, Ed. I mean, it's common sense. You're kind of answering your own question. Can you do this on a high blog on another original article on another blog platform with another keyword? Yes, it will help. Getting ready, a couple weeks in order to order another IFTTT ring for use for WP video embeds as the trigger for older videos, as Adam suggested to me earlier in an earlier Hump Day Hangout. I'm seeing contextual links, anchors being given more power for rankings now, even with video now versus just pounding out embeds and bookmarks to the embeds. Do you guys feel the same way about regarding using a few articles on a few different blogs and blog platforms with contextual anchors and raw URLs? Yes, of course. I always say diversify. Embeds is very powerful, but in social embeds is very powerful, and also social engagement, which is actually having people click on the video, watch it, that sort of thing is very powerful. But backlinking too. You always want to diversify your signals, period. It's that's going to give you a boost if you diversify. So building links to the video itself is also going to help. Okay. Again, if you do a combination of all of them, that's the best because that looks most natural. All right. If the answer is yes, I'm also assuming I can use long tail exact match search keywords other than the one already in the post for the new anchors and the new bookmarking post description using Syndwire, etc. Yeah, you always want to diversify your anchors as well. You can't hammer a YouTube video anymore, or you shouldn't. With an exact match anchor, they're the same keyword over and over again. You'll see that it won't rank as well, or if it had been ranking, it can actually drop. So using the raw URLs is a great strategy. That's what I typically do the most of, and then I'll mix in, some keyword anchors, but they'll be, a pretty good variation of keywords, if that makes sense. So like if I'm going after a local term and it's, plumber Dallas, for example, I'm going to mix in, different variations of that. Plumbing contractor, Texas plumbing company. You know, I'm going to do all kinds of different variations of that keyword so that it's not just hammering away on that one set keyword. Okay.
Yeah, that's why we are asking you guys when you purchase the IFTTT link building service. That's why we are asking you guys for 300, 500 keywords. You know, you can use something like Keyword Sheeter, for example, which is free. I love that name, by the way. But you can use that to put out an entire list of huge list of keywords that you can use for tools like GSA, for example.
Yep.
And that's exactly the strategy that we are using when powering up IFTTT networks, for example, on our link building service.
And you can do that direct to a YouTube video as well.
Yep.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Although, you know, I just to let you know, I know that Hernan can will second this. Is that I see good results with embedding the videos and in building links to the embedded properties. Mm-hmm. Instead of linking directly to the video. So
yeah.
Once you have your embeds on your network or on even third-party sites, you know, outside of your network, whatever, if you start building links to that page where the video is embedded, that seems to work even better than just building links directly to the video.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can even build links to the playlist. I mean, that's usually safer if you're going to build links to the playlist. Or, you know, if you're mild with your link building, you can do it to the YouTube channel itself, not to the video, because, you know, I've been testing a lot with Hangout Millionaire, for example, with playlists that has 300, 400 videos, and it's a you know, it's really hard to build links to these 300, 400 videos. And when you're trying to rank that many amount of videos, you need to build links to the playlist. Or you to build links to the embedded networks, as Bradley was saying.
Yeah, and let me jump in for a minute and go. I'm going to show something here in video playlists because I want to demonstrate something here for a minute. So, like, let's go find where's the Hump Day Hangouts playlist right here. Let's open this up. So the URLs that you should be building links to in playlists, there's multiple URLs, there's multiple entry points, right? And so you can build the link directly to the playlist index page, which is what we're looking at here. Okay, so like if you go to the share and grab that URL, that's considered the playlist index page, right? So you can build links directly to here, and typically that's what most people will do. But you can also, for example, if I wanted to rank this particular video, if I click on this video, let me pause it. This is going to open up this video, or right here, this is another point with which you can build links to. And it's going to build links to this specific video, but it's still going to power up the entire playlist because you see this? All of these are links, and it's also got a link to the channel right here, everything else. So this is a very powerful way to build additional links to the same video. Because you could build links to the individual video URL, but then you can also build links to the video URL when it's in a playlist. You can build links to the playlist index URL. So there's multiple variations that you can build links to. And you want to do that because it gives you more variety, but it's still pushing juice to the same locations. That makes sense. All right, so good question. Number 2, is it better to get 3 or 4 very relevant related content RSS feeds and mash them up and use that URL for the feed, or is it more advisable to just use 3 individual feeds? Better to use 3 individual feeds. And wait, but let me finish that question though. To populate related content on our tier 1 blogs and our video syndication network, as you have shown us. Well, I don't talk about doing that for tier 1. Tier 2, yeah, but you don't even have to do that for video networks. At least you still don't to this day. It may come to a point where we have to, but at this point we currently don't. I don't recommend using mash feeds, and in the training I specifically state that. And the reason why is because if there's problems with, for example, if you've got 3 feeds and one of them doesn't have an attribution link already coded into the RSS feed, when you mash them together, now you're going to have two of the content sources will have attributions pointing to the source, and one of them won't. And then you're plagiarizing content. You know, this copyright infringement. You don't want to do that. And so by being able to create the recipes for individual content feeds, you know, additional content feeds, you set them up as separate triggers. Then you're able to manually code in through the IFTTT recipe your own attribution link to the content source. You don't want to attribute it to your own blog. You want to attribute it to, or your own YouTube channel. You want to attribute it to the source. So that's one reason. The other reason is because oftentimes there will be significant differences in frequency of publishing between feeds. And you can use something like, what is it, feed rinse or something like that to be able to say, you used to be able to use pipes. We can't use pipes anymore. But there are some other services that you can use to set up filters to reduce the amount of posts that are coming from a particular feed, or only allow certain posts with tags, certain tags or certain keywords in the titles to pass through. And that's what you can't do that when you have a blended feed. Well, you can, but it can cause problems. So I just as soon set up 3 separate trigger feeds, and that's it. Be done with it. Okay.
Yeah, a good one that I found is feed.informer.com. It has an IDA, a nice DA, domain authority, and it will allow you to add some filters at the end of the process. So it's feed.informer.com. It's a good service, and it will allow you to add those filters that Bradley was talking about.
Yep. I'm assuming the related content feeds we need for the other 2 blogs in the IFTTT ring should all be different feed URLs, feed sources than the one used in the first blog in the ring. Correct. Yes. And again, those are for tier 2 rings. I always recommend that you have, because otherwise it would look, kind of stupid to have the same content feeds posting to 3 different rings. It just doesn't make sense. It's better to mix it up. So if you're doing a full 2-tier network and you're going to use related content feeds on your tier 2 networks, and let's say you're going to use 3, right? So you're going to have your own feed plus 3 additional related content feeds triggering that network. Then I would have a total of 9 additional content feeds, 3 for each, plus your own for each, right? So it's going to be a total of 9 plus your own feed, if that makes sense. Absolutely, I keep it separate. And sometimes that's difficult to do. It depends on how narrow you are with your niche. But remember, on tier 2, you can be a hell of a lot more broad as long as it's in the same ballpark, the same top-level category. So, like again, if you're doing plumbing stuff, I wouldn't try to find plumbing feeds. I would just try to find home improvement feeds. That makes sense, because that's going to be a hell of a lot more broad, but it's still going to be in the same ballpark. Okay? Give you more options. All right. When we purchase aged high PA tumblrs or bloggers and convert the themes, homepage titles, etc., is it safe then to connect in the IFTTT for auto posting and connect related RSS feeds, or will the blogs most likely get terminated? Would doing 1 or 2 manual seed posts to each blog in the IFTTT ring help to avoid them from happening? Yeah, again, in the training, that's why we do that. Absolutely. Yeah, you can still hook up to it, but I always recommend it. And that's why it's laid out in the training that you should do a seed post on every single one of them. In fact, you should strip out any links whatsoever on the seed post except for the attribution link to where you got the seed post, typically from the same source. Okay, so there's a couple ways to do that. When we post seed posts, we either go to BuzzSumo and find a popular article that's got a lot of social signals, a lot of activity, and post it on the blog, and then we link back to the original source. But we've even had sometimes those accounts get terminated because it's just posting that first post with a link somewhere. So when that's the case, and it does happen sometimes, but when that's the case, or if we find a particular stretch of time where it's happening more often, then one of the ways that we've gotten around it is to find an article related to whatever topic you're theming your site for on the same platform. So, for example, find a Blogger blog post, a blog post on Blogger, and then repost it on your Blogger blog with only a link pointing to the original Blogger blog that it was posted from, so that you're linking within the same domain instead of outbound linking to some other property, if that makes sense. Even if there was already links in the article, you want to strip those out and only link back to the original blog post source, which would be also on that same platform, Blogger in this case. Same thing with Tumblr. Same thing with WordPress.com. And we found that is oftentimes will pass any kind of manual review. And then give it time. Let it sit. Let your sites age for at least 3 days, but I'll typically wait anywhere like closer to 7 days before I'll start hooking up an auto posting through IFTTT. Okay? Anybody want to add to that?
I think it was beautiful.
Sweet. Okay, Kevin says, did I miss a Serp Shaker and Drive script interview? Is there a replay? Kevin, if you were in the Serp Shaker group, Andre's group, then you can just, I'm sure the replay is posted in there inside of Facebook, so just check the
and I'll
Facebook.
post the link if you're not, like if you've been interested in Serp Shaker, and you want to check it out, I mean, you got to be a part of the group, which means buying Serp Shaker to get in there. But I mean, I don't know. I for one recommend it. If you're interested in it, if you're not, then don't worry about it. But I'll post the link, and it's inside the group. So if you purchase and join the group, you can check out the replay.
Yep. Robbie says, Bradley, you hit on this in an earlier post, but I need more help. I purchased a 2-tier network using my personal Google email in the order form. It's branded for NJ Business Video Broadcasting Network, a la VA Hangouts. Okay, I'm ordering my second network specifically related to the cosmetic surgery niche. I want to syndicate the cosmetic videos to its own network as well as my New Jersey Business Video Broadcasting Network because the networks will be topically related and provide more links. I'll use the cosmetic RSS feeds as the trigger to my Tier 1 New Jersey Biz to syndicate those videos. Is that right? Well, are they both video networks? Yeah, they're both video networks. So there's nowhere to. You wouldn't be using RSS feeds. You'd be syndicating via the trigger would be your YouTube channel. So I'm not sure where that. So that's not correct unless I'm misunderstanding the question. I want to syndicate the cosmetic videos to its own network on as many as my New Jersey Business Video as well as my, New Jersey Business Video Broadcasting Network because the networks will be topically related and provide more links. I'll use cosmetic RSS feeds as the trigger to my New Jersey Biz to syndicate those videos. Is that right? Now, again, because there's no RSS feed there. You're talking about syndicating videos. You want to use YouTube as your trigger. It used to be that we could use a YouTube RSS to syndicate videos, but it's not the case anymore. Now it just syndicates links to the videos. So we have to use YouTube as the trigger. So you can do that, but what you need to do is set up another IFTTT account and connect all the same New Jersey Biz properties to that new IFTTT account, and then connect the Cosmetic Dentistry YouTube channel to that one as well. So essentially, you would have it would be the same properties that they're syndicating to. You would just have two different IFTTT accounts syndicating to the same one ring, right? But you'd have two separate triggers. One YouTube trigger from your New Jersey Business Video Broadcasting channel, and then the other IFTTT account would be the YouTube trigger for your Cosmetic Dentistry channel. See, guys, you can take the WordPress.com, the Tumblr, the Delicious, the Digo, all of that from one ring and connect that to multiple IFTTT accounts if needed, so that you can have multiple trigger points with YouTube, because you can only connect. What's nice about the RSS2 recipes, which we use for RSS fed or RSS triggers, is that you can add multiple triggers to the same IFTTT account. However, when you're using something like YouTube as the trigger, you can only have, at this point in IFTTT, you can only have one active channel, one activated YouTube channel per IFTTT account. So if you want to syndicate two channels to the same network, you just have to set up two separate IFTTT accounts, which can connect to all of the same properties in one ring, if that makes sense. Okay? For the Cosmetic YouTube channel, I created a separate G account under an alias as you suggested. On the network order page, it says to provide logos for branded networks, which I have. But what about the alias photo of the new G account? I have one already uploaded that I'm using, but I'm not sure if I screw things up. Thanks for hearing me out. Well, if you've already got the new Google account created under an alias account, you should have a Google Plus page, not a profile, and we don't want your profile. All we want is your page, and it says that on the order form. If that's unclear, I apologize, but all we want is your Google Plus page login, so we don't need your profile picture because we're not going to use it. We're going to want to use the logo from, because if it's a branded account especially, we're going to want to use your logo, not the profile image.
Yeah.
So,
And Bradley,
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add that Robbie's in the mastermind.
Yeah.
So we can take care of him on the inside if he has any more issues, and he can always send in a support ticket. We'll straighten it all out. We'll make sure that it gets right.
And we got a mastermind tomorrow, so we can talk about that more in depth there if you want. That's fine. I got no problem with that. I don't think Robbie's here anyways because I think he still has a regular job too. So he's working on losing that. Firing his boss, in other words. Ed Ryan, again, says, hey guys, I've been adding Weebly sites to my network, so I have 4 main blogs instead of 3 in each network, and the Weeblys are surrounded by the usual suspects, app.net, Digo, Delicious, so essentially a whole other network. Is this okay to do this for more links and power to my networks? Yes, Ed, it is. And for blogs, it's fine. It's just for YouTube videos, we're not able to send it, like, the embed never happens. And also, if you're using blogs, blog syndicate for blog syndication, yes, it works. We just never added it because a lot of people use these specifically for video SEO, and they don't work for embeds, for syndicating embeds to Weeblys. But yeah, Weeblys are great for blogs too, so you can absolutely do that. Is there anything in particular I should be aware of when building and connecting in IFTTT as the training was designed for Blogger? No. Nothing different. Just once you get familiar with Weebly, it's all the same. You just got to set up your Weebly site, grab the RSS feed, connect it to IFTTT just like you would anything else, and run with it. That's it. Nothing different. Okay. Or if you're using an RSS feed to feed Weebly, and then Weebly's the trigger for a tier 2 network, it's the same thing. Everything's the exact same, guys. Nothing's different. Okay. It's just the platform itself is different. Kevin says, I ran into a ton of expired Web 2.0s, PA 30 plus. Okay, he's naming several of them. Not sure how to use them. A lot of them have good backlinks and show NA for the trust flow and majestic. I'm thinking of hitting my money site 1 page per 1 type of Web 2.0, then using all the extra blogs to hit my IFTTT and social media. Is it okay to have, say, 3 EK blogs? A few of them have the France TLD.fr. 3 webs, 3 Drupal, 3 Tumblrs, all hitting my IFTTT, or is 3 of a kind as tier 2 a footprint? Yeah, that I would mix it up. I would just make them random amounts if you're going to do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that with using those different properties. If you have them and they have some power already, sure. To me, that seems like an awful lot of manual setup, personally. I wouldn't take the time to do it, but if it's something you want to do, Kevin, and you've got some time to kill, you certainly could, but I would make the number of each one completely random so that it's not leaving a footprint, and I would probably randomly link, like interlink, so that they're not all pointed to the exact same property or the same. I would do some random interlinking to kind of mix it up, match it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good point that he's mentioning that he's trying to use them as a tier 2. That's what I would do, and some of these like webs.com, I think newsvine, Tumblr, Jigsy, Drupal, Gardens, they will enter into FCS Networker, and FCS Networker will be able to push content into those. So I will import them as as a different network into FCS Networker, and use those to power up IFTTT networks. And then you can go behind that with GSA, whatever. But I think it will be a good semi-automated way of populating them with content.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah,
I can tell you, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't waste your time with newsvine. Your accounts get terminated in newsvine because for self-promotion at the drop of a hat. I have tried with newsvine on multiple attempts, and even with manual posts. I even had a VA that was manually curating content on newsvine, and they still get terminated. So I don't even waste my time with them. I mean, if anybody else has any different experiences, by all means, I'd love to hear them. But I was never able to get newsvine to stay. The accounts always end up getting terminated because it's heavily moderated. So I just wouldn't waste my time. Or how would you guys suggest? Like Hernan said, just using them as to link to tier 1 properties instead of direct to your money site. That's much smarter, especially because of potential footprint issues. But if you're doing it kind of more of in a random fashion, like I just mentioned, you should be okay. Again, especially if you're linking to tier 1 properties instead of direct to your money site. All right. Next, when 301 an expired domain to a money site, and also 301 a second expired to the first, does it matter if all the domains are on the same name server like fatcow? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. And that's only if you're using the cPanel redirects. If you're you can do it. You can do redirects through the registrar as well. But if you're going to be using cPanel redirects or htaccess redirects, I would essentially put them on different servers myself. I don't like to double 301 redirect from the same server. What do you think, Hernan? Do you have any input on that?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Because yeah,
if if it's just a couple of them that he's doing, there might not be a problem. The keyword here is might, but if he's doing a ton of them, then it's a clear footprint.
Yeah, exactly. So I always, I have so many damn hosting accounts, it's ridiculous. So I have the ability to swap out, different IPs because of different hosting accounts. So here's a better idea. Why not, you could use well, this is more mastermind level stuff, but you could use like Amazon S3 or something like that, which is going to give you a unique IP. In fact, it's going to give you a dynamic IP, which switches, it changes. And you can use an Amazon S3 that way, and that's going to give you dynamic IP on one of those 301s, or even both of them for that matter, and that's going to give you a hell of a lot more protection. So
yeah, I mean, if they are, you can still have custom name servers, but the IP will be the same. So yeah, I would try to switch it. You can, if you don't want to spend that much of money, there will be a ton of Christmas deals coming, that you can get like $1 or something like that hosting, and since it's going to be for 301, then you can just have it there. They won't be getting any traffic anyway. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't recommend the buying the $1 hostings for PBN accounts or anything, guys, because they're more trouble than they're worth. The amount of time that their uptime is terrible. There will always be plugin conflicts. The sites will crash all the time, even for PBN. So I got away from doing that because they were particularly a pain in the ass. I spent more time repairing sites and submitting support tickets to hosting accounts than the sites were live for the most part. So it was just, I don't do it. But for something like what Hernan is just mentioning, if you're going to be using them for like 301 tricks and stuff like that, use a bunch of, get several of them. Buy $5 hosting accounts, and oftentimes if you purchase for a year, you can get them for cheaper. And then you can use, just cycle through the IPs when you're doing stuff like this so that you're adding variety.
Yeah.
All right. Fatcow is so damn cheap. Is it okay to 301s? That the 301s come from a Fatcow account and redirect to my money site that is also on a Fatcow but on a different account. It's probably going to be the same IP. It just depends on, like, a lot of the times they're going to end up being, unless you can choose data centers, which I don't think you can with Fatcow. I don't know for sure. But honestly, you should diversify your hosting, Kevin. I understand it's cheap, but if you're making money, you should be willing to invest a little bit for protection and to diversify. Again, you don't want to put all your eggs in any one basket at any time. So there are a lot of hosting companies out there that you can use to do stuff. That's just personally my recommendation. You can try to get away with it. I don't recommend it. Another one from Ed. Any ETA on IFTTT training video updates to hold us over until the new IFTTT SEO is complete? Started building a new network, and things with WordPress and Gravatar have changed when doing verified services. Like WordPress and the YouTube channel. Google Plus seems to be okay. The URL string channel URL for Gravatar imports during the verification process for YouTube, and an incomplete URL and links back to the non-existent channel. Ed, this has been covered in the updates training. I know this question's, I could have sworn you've already asked this question once, but maybe it was somebody else. But this is, if you go to the updates training inside the IFTTT SEO Academy, I specifically state you don't want to add anything as a verified service anymore in Gravatar. You just add every one of them as a website. Don't worry about the verified services anymore. Just add them as websites. And there's a video inside the training that specifically addresses that. Okay? As far as the IFTTT 2.0, yeah, guys, that'll be coming, but I'm not giving anybody a hard date on it because I've got two really important projects that I'm working on for Semantic Mastery that are my top priority, and I'm not diluting my time anymore until those projects are done. So I can't give any promise on that. I know we're going to be working on it, and that's going to come out until Google Plus forces us to the new platform, which right now you have the option to select or to switch back to Classic View. We're not going to be updating the training. If something else happens that needs a major update video, of course we'll do a patchwork, a Band-Aid video. But the new training is not going to be coming out until we're either forced to go to the new Google Plus, or until like possibly January or even February, whichever comes first. Okay. It's almost like there are too many characters in New York. Yeah, again, I'm not going to finish reading this question if yeah, it looks like it's always talking about the verified services. Ed, go back, check the update section, watch that video. That'll answer your question. Just add everything as a website. Sky, when you are splicing RSS feeds with related content, how do you give proper attribution to the source? I answered that already earlier, Sky. You don't splice. You use if you're using related content feeds, you're going to want to set up separate triggers, and that was addressed in the earlier question already in this very Hump Day Hangout. Okay. Ray says, for Serp Shaker ATM types of sites, how many subs domains is safe? Is building 10 subs domains too many? No, I don't think so, Ray. I mean, I've never hit. I don't know what the limit is. I don't even know if there is a limit. A lot of the Chinese domains that we purchased for various dark headwear things that we do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, for various testing purposes. Let's put it that way. Have sometimes hundreds, thousands, and even hundreds of thousands of subdomains. And so there, I've never hit. I typically don't do more than 10 or 12 subdomains on a site, and usually I don't even go that high. But there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it. Just don't link to the root, and don't let the root link to any of the subs. You want to keep them all entirely separate. Okay. Earl says, quick question. Bought a couple of packages of backlinks from you. Now that they are up, what else should I do with them? Add to Linklicious. Well, we submit all the URLs that are from the link building service to a couple of indexing services already for you, Earl. That's just part of the process. If you have an indexing service and you want to resubmit it, it certainly can't hurt, because remember, a lot of those links are difficult to index because just the type of, that's what happens when you mass build links with tools.
Yeah.
But we do submit to at least one. I'm pretty sure it's even 2 indexing services. I'm not quite sure it's 2 indexing services. But if you have one of your own indexing services and when you get the link reports you want to submit them, it won't hurt. If so, how many a day should I do them post? Is it worthwhile site? Is it a worthwhile site to pay for to do higher volumes? Linklicious is actually fairly inexpensive, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, if you're going for if you're going for a big volume, then I would suggest something like Holly Cooper's indexer, the incredible indexer, which allows you to 100,000 backlinks per day or something like that. But again, when doing when doing our link building service, we are building several tiers of spam so as to index the contextual backlinks, the high trustful backlinks that we want them to be indexed. So yeah. Don't fret if any of the lower tiers don't get indexed, because the main idea is that we push the robots upstream. Yeah. But for high volumes, I've tested it a lot, and the incredible indexer from Holly Cooper is one of the best.
Yeah, I would also add that once you do something, you wait. And I mean, this is the whole point of the blog post that I wrote a couple of days ago. Right? You do something like this, you can't keep going and going and going and going indefinitely without stopping, taking a breath, and seeing what happens. You wait, you see what happens, and then if you need to do something else, you go back and figure out, okay, what do I need to do now? But it's going to take, we know now, 20 to 70 days for this all to clear, for whatever it is that he's done today, especially if he caught it like right in the middle of the Google dance process, if he was inside the 70 days where he was getting some action. But it's all in the blog post. If he can go through the blog post, he'll get a whole lot of good information on what he can do and what he should do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get the link for that.
Okay, Monique says, this question is for each of you, Adam, Hernan, Marco, Chris, Bradley. What is your favorite tool to use which translates for you into the most money-making results? Well, it depends on what type of business we're working on. You know what I mean? Like, so, I've got things that I use for local, then I've got things that we use for semantic mastery, there's things that I use for lead gen, it just depends. I can tell you for semantic mastery, probably one of our favorite tools is ClickFunnels. I know that. Because we use that for, that's very important for our business. Our autoresponders. I don't know. It just depends on what type of model you're talking about specifically, Monique. There's different tools for different business models. I don't know. Again, GSA, FCS Networker, those are valuable tools that we use. Hangout Millionaire has been quite valuable for me. There's a lot of tools that I use. I mean, I've got just a huge arsenal of tools that are available for me to use for depending on what it is that I'm trying to do. and it's really hard to select just one and say that's the best.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she's saying favorite as far as translating directly into money. I would say Power Suggest Pro. I can go in there, do the keyword, drop a keyword in there, get the whatever it spits out, and then like pick out what keywords I'm going to go after, and pretty much know what it's going to bring back. Once you do it enough, you know right off the bat which keywords are the ones that will be the cherry ones.
That's a great call, Marco. That's absolutely true, because we use that across every business model. Power Suggest Pro for local, for lead gen, for semantic mastery, for affiliate. It doesn't matter. That's absolutely true.
And Monique, if you want to hear Hernan and my in-depth take on this, I posted the link at the top, and if anyone else is interested, you can check out our podcast from last week. We actually answered this exact question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
We just wanted to keep everyone else out. No, just kidding.
Cool. Next one. Do you always use a content management system like WordPress, etc., or do you still hard-code site pages using a template? No, I always use WordPress. I use HTML pages for very strategic reasons, but it's normally has to do with link building. It's not necessarily for any sort of like actually trying to drive traffic to a particular HTML page. However, I recently picked up a tool that creates HTML sales pages. It's a tool that creates them by just filling in details. I haven't even had a chance to play with it yet, but I would like to. So, but personally, I don't use HTML pages at the moment for anything other than just for link building stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, WordPress has become such a big
industry standard.
Yeah, an industry standard, and I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, even if you're developing a PBN, you need to check out the industry standard, because I think WordPress has the 70% of the market share right now, which is crazy. So if you want to emulate that on your PBNs, you could do that. But you know, we have been diving more and more for particular like pages on landing pages. We have been doing a lot of ClickFunnels lately, and I think that's PHP. I don't know what's that built in, but yeah, that's PHP.
Yeah. So as far as being able to modify or mass change pages, mass edit pages, I'm not sure how to do that, Monique, because it's just not something that we do. So I'm sorry if I can't help you on that one. Maybe somebody else can.
Yeah, mass HTML pages. You would use something like Mass Page Creator, which is an HTML tool. And I've been diving a little bit, you know, when looking for some other ways of creating kind of Serp Shaker ATM sites. So it's Mass Page Creator. I'll dig for the link. But again, being HTML, you need to create the template, then you will roll out the entire website. And I mean, I've been creating like 3 million pages website in a couple of minutes. It's that big. But then again, you know, if you screw up something, which I tend to do, then you will need to erase everything and start over. So that's the only problem with HTML.
Yep.
I mean, you still have old school stuff like Dreamweaver that you can use.
Right.
But I don't know if that's a mass editor. You know what I mean? Isn't that page by page?
Not if you set a template for it. Then you could always mess with the template and re-upload.
Yep.
Okay. All right, the next one. This is a great question too, by the way. If you were advising, this is for each of us, but if you were, and I'm looking forward to answering this one. If you were advising someone on your recommendation of the key thing to make sure that they don't do if they are trying to make money online because it will impede their efforts. Okay, what not do, what not to do. My number one answer, highest priority, most important answer for this is don't get distracted. Focus. Okay, so don't get distracted. The other side of that is to focus. Cut out distractions. Stop buying shiny objects. Stop looking for the next best thing that's going to make your business so much easier. The next shiny object, the next tool that's supposed to be push button easy, the next opportunity. Stop looking for that. Select one thing and make that your bitch, so to speak. I mean, literally select one thing and focus on that one particular money-making opportunity until you master it. Then if you want to start looking at other things, by all means do it. But don't go out and try to buy a bunch of different, and you know, I know because I'm victim of this myself. where you and even to this day I struggle when I see an opportunity come by my way. I want to jump on it because I'm thinking, oh wow, that looks like an opportunity. The problem is it will detract from the work that you're doing on any other project and will end up diluting your effectiveness to where you never really succeed with any one of your projects. So you need to focus, and that's why I mentioned earlier right here on this Hump Day Hangout that I'm not starting IFTTT version 2.0 until I have these 2 projects that I'm currently working on for us right now completed, because I'm not diluting my time. I've got to focus on those, and that's why, because you have to be very disciplined and at that, or else you will fail in your business, or you will never fully succeed. You'll never reach a high level if you're always diluting your time and your attention across multiple projects, if that makes sense. So that was my answer. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm going to steal Hernan's thunder. Can you see? I don't know. Can you guys see my screen, or am I up on the?
No, I can put it on you.
I just want to make sure it's broadcasting. All right, there we go. So, there you go. Go take a look at it. Go read it. Just to back up what Bradley said, this is something we recommend people read. Bradley's talking about it, but I mean, not only do we incorporate it, but I mean, it's so important that I've read books on focusing, cutting out distractions, and productivity, because that's the most important thing. Whether it's a business or SEO, whatever you're doing, you've got to focus, or like Bradley said, you're just gonna spread yourself too thin.
That's right.
Yeah, I would say do not multitask. Multitask is the biggest lie that I've. You can brag that you're multitasking, but that's something that's not cool at all. So the more you focus on one step of your business at a time, the better you can make it happen, and the quicker. I'm all about speed and making things happening. So just to reiterate what my partners were saying, go an inch deep but a mile long.
Yep.
So that's what I would do.
And instead of being able to brag about multitasking, you should be able to brag about your bank account when you focus and you and you make a lot of money. Then you can brag about your success because you actually focused on one thing and made it happen.
Yep.
Marco, you want to jump in, or Chris? Either of you?
No, because I would just add to basically the same thing you said. Don't go into analysis paralysis. Don't get so much stuff on your plate that you just don't know where to go. The main thing, and you guys know this from the mastermind, from all the Facebook groups, from G+, that my main thing is just do it. Whatever it is that you're going to do, just do it. I'm going to rank a website. Well, just do it. Go rank it. I'm going after this keyword. Just do it. Don't tell me that you're going to do it. Don't tell me what you want to do. Just do it.
Yeah. The other thing is, guys, probably everyone watching this right now, unless you're brand spanking new and this is your very first webinar about online marketing, you probably already have all the tools that you already need. That you probably have more tools than you'll ever need. You probably have tools and training programs that you've never even used sitting on your hard drive, as I like to say, collecting digital dust. And buying the next tool or the next product that's being launched on JVZoo you get 100 freaking emails about because it's supposed to be push button simple and blah 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 isn't going to push you forward. Most likely you'll never end up using it to its full extent anyways, because as you're trying to learn it, you're going to end up getting promoted another product that you're going to end up buying. So unless you focus in on a very particular part of your business, a very particular avenue that you want to choose to be your vehicle to make money online, you're going to constantly be distracted and you'll never accomplish much. So I will
play the devil's advocate though to Bradley and say that because we're fans of automation and saving time, I mean, it's not to say there aren't products out there that don't save you time, because if you've got something out there that's being promoted, like, several of us use Hangout Millionaire, several of us use FCS Networker. This isn't stuff we bought after selling our products. This is stuff we own. Right. We bought with our own money because we look at it and say, hey, this stuff is good, it's quality, it works, and it saves us money. You can do all this stuff manually, but it's a huge pain in the butt when you're trying to do it on scale.
And I agree with that. But what all I mean is that if you're not making money online yet, then stop buying new shiny objects. I don't care if it could make your job easier. Wait till you start making money and allow your business to fund those kind of purchases.
No, definitely, I agree. I'm just saying that it's not a blanket statement that just, hey, if you can make your life easier, and then like one of your statements actually I really like, Bradley, was when you look at this product, don't think, hey, how can how can I pay for this? How can I afford it? How can I do it cheaper? Say, before I buy this tool, how can I use this to make more money?
That's right. Yep, that's a good way to think of it, a good angle. All right, so hopefully that was helpful, Monique. That was a great question, very good question. In fact, in masterclass today, we're going to spend some time talking about business building stuff for a very particular reason. So we're going to talk about that today in masterclass, which is coming up in about 10 minutes. So I don't know if Monique is in masterclass. I don't think she is, but you're missing out. And we're about to close that down anyways. For the live webinars are coming to an end. We've got almost 40 weeks. Next week will be 40th week in there, and it was only supposed. We're graduating our members into Mastermind for those that want to come. So I'm going to be talking about some business building stuff today. Brian says, "What did they do to the Yoast plugin?" Brian, I've heard this in several groups. You can still edit everything. They just changed the way that it looks. You just click on the displayed meta title and meta description. You just click on it, and it will allow you to edit it. It doesn't have fields now that you enter, and it has a separate display. Now it is a display that is editable. You just click on it, and it will allow you to edit it. Okay. Dan says, what service, in your opinion, is the best for local citations? Great question, Dan. He says, I remember you mentioning Loganix and Brightlocal, just wondering what the latest consensus was. Okay, I've got two that I recommend. If you're on a budget, Marketer Center. Great service. We have, I believe it's semanticmastery.com/marketer center. I don't know if, Adam, you want to drop the link. Either way, go to that's by Andrew Scherer. It's his group, or it's his service. He's got a really good citation building service if you're on a budget. It's still good, don't get me wrong. Just because he offers the low cost doesn't mean it's not a good service. However, if you are looking for the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, the Aston Martin of citation building services, there's no question Loganix is it. Those guys are incredibly good at what they do, and I've never found a better service for that. And I've spent a lot of money with them recently because I've got them doing projects, multiple local projects for me, because they're really good. That's Loganix. If anybody's ever doing local, and you're dealing with inconsistent citation data, which will kill your maps rankings, Loganix's citation cleanup service, which is now $497, is absolutely worth it, because they are the most thorough I've ever seen, and they just get the job done, and they do it very well. And that's, by the way, that is brain dead work. Like, I mean, I would rather watch paint dry than try to do that shit myself. And I've tried hiring VAs and training them how to do it, but they're usually ineffective. But these guys have got a process and a system down that just flat out works, and it's very efficient. So it's totally worth the investment. Okay? All right, we'll answer a couple more, and then we got to wrap it up, man. A lot of people here today, guys. I'm glad you guys are all asking so many questions. This is great. Next one. Okay, Daryl says, in an effort to boost DA, I was considering creating a subdomain with only one page, not linking it to the main site, and then hitting it hard with a bunch of GSA links. What are your thoughts on this strategy? And if you agree it works, could you give an estimate of the number of links, type of links, such as contextuals only, and anchor text you would use? Thanks. Yeah, you can do that. That's standard domain authority boosting stuff that you can do. Don't link. I would actually set the subdomain to no index, and you could hit it with links. I would still, though, honestly, Daryl, just to be safe, I would still set up a 301 redirect with another domain, like an XYZ domain or something, to point to the subdomain, and then hit the XYZ or whatever, the 301, hit the 301 with all the links. I used to go straight to a subdomain, but I particularly don't like to do that. I just like having that switch there. It's just peace of mind, because if something happens, and then you can just always remove that 301 redirect or point that 301 redirect elsewhere, like to a competitor. Oh, I didn't say that, did I? I didn't say that.
No, you didn't.
You guys didn't hear that. That was a Freudian slip. Daryl says the next question is, when using FCS's Tier 1 IFTTT networks, what do you recommend as for the number of SCS accounts to create and type of anchor text to use? I'll let you answer that one, Hernan, since I don't actually use the tool myself.
Yep. Let me.
I mean, that's kind of along the same lines. Well, no. Hernan, you definitely can answer this better, but that to me is kind of the same as like how many IFTTT networks does it take to rank? I mean, how many links are you sending? What are you looking? What terms? How many terms? So.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is that as a rule of thumb, and this will depend heavily on the market and the competition and your current results with SEO. As a rule of thumb, I always do 100 to 150 tier 1 links. That means 100 to 150 contextual backlinks to each IFTTT property, or to each tier 1 for that matter. If it is a press release, if it is Web 2.0, a secondary Web 2.0 or something like that, that's as much as I would do, because I try to do contextual backlinks with high DA or high trust flow. And high trust flow mostly, that's exactly what we're doing with the link building service, because I don't want to burn them. I don't want to burn those tier 1 properties.
Yeah, I agree.
Then I can go crazy with spam, like 2 tiers of 10,000 links or something like that to those 150 properties. But I would say you test it, but I wouldn't push it harder than that, because really you do not want to burn your tier 1. I mean, I'm being so kind of obsessed with tier 1, because you need to be able to close a sale on your tier 1. That's how pristine they need to be. You know what I mean? You need to be able to drive traffic, to drive buyer traffic with your tier 1. If you're doing a dinky, shitty Web 2.0, lost an orphan account, as Bradley says it, call them, that's not a good tier 1. Press releases are great tier 1s. IFTTT will help you sell a guest post, outreach, a comment, a forum link that will also help you sell. Those are the type of tier 1 links that you want.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Okay, Daryl, wait a minute, next one. Jeff, we're going to answer up to Morris, and that's it, because we're actually probably going to run over just a minute, but I read up to his question, and I want to answer that as well. So, Jeff, I've been using Video Powerhouse for the past month. Many of the links to embeds you are posting for me are showing up in Majestic. Do you see any problems with running crowd search campaigns for them for referral traffic to the videos? No, not at all, Jeff. In fact, we may be actually integrating that into Video Powerhouse ourselves. Again, we're not swearing to that, but there's a chance that might be something that we end up integrating anyways as part of Video Powerhouse, is having that service, that we can provide that service within the dashboard itself. Not swearing to that, but there's no problem with that. Also, just as a side note, if you notice in Majestic that it says that the links have been deleted, Hernan pointed this out earlier because it was brought up as a question to us. If you notice that within, like next week you go back and you look and it shows as links being deleted, it's because your videos have been pushed off the home page of that particular URL. It doesn't mean the link isn't there. It doesn't mean the embed isn't there. It just means that it's been paginated, which means it's been pushed off the front page. It's still receiving the juice, and it's still got, so just guys, I want you guys to be aware of that. We probably need to note that inside of the dashboard so that we don't get a ton of support tickets about it. Next, Kevin says, and we're going to, like I said, guys, Kevin and then Morrison when we're done. How do we switch back to Google Classic? There's a button in the left-hand side when you go to the navigation bar that will say switch back to Classic or switch to Classic Google Plus or whatever. Click on that. It will take you back. I recommend that you continue to switch back to, like if you set up a new account now, like when setting up a new persona account or whatever, I believe it's automatically going to default you into the new version, but there's still an option to switch back to Classic. And I recommend you do that because new version is still in beta, so there's a lot of things that aren't working properly. There are features that aren't available that are available in Classic that will be imported or will be available, but they're not yet. So it's not worth going in there and fumbling around. I don't like the new layout. I really think it's stupid, but again, we all resist change. We're only human. So maybe it'll grow on me over time, but until they get everything all the functionality back, I recommend switching back to Google Plus. Yes, there is with the information button, which is a very obscure button on the bottom right-hand side of the header image for the new Google Plus. There's a little eye with a circle. If you click on that, that's going to take you to about.google.com or something like that. And that's going to be like your new links page, your profile page. It's on a new subdomain of Google. Okay, and that will still pass, but until we get into the new version of IFTTT, I recommend just going with the Google Plus Classic version. All right. Last one, Morris, I got a question. Do you think building PBNs will be effective in 2016 and beyond? It's a great question, Morris. In fact, our resident mad scientist, Marco, is researching and creating a blog post specifically to answer that question. So stay tuned. Go subscribe to our blog, our RSS feed, semanticmastery.com/RSS or /feed, and you can be updated when that blog post gets posted, and maybe it'll be available for next week, and we can post it in the Hump Day Hangout next week.
Yeah, I actually want to know if he was reading my mind.
Yeah,
he was looking over my shoulder when I was doing the research, man.
Yeah, because we were talking about that today, actually. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I will answer that question in the next week or so.
Amazing. You even coined a new term. I think that's gonna be big. We're gonna take over the market just with the term that you coined. So.
Oh yeah. We're not gonna talk the acronym, you know.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. We're gonna be late for masterclass. We already are. Everyone, masterclass starts in just a minute. You should be there if you're a member, because we're gonna talk about some cool stuff today, and we will see you all then. Otherwise, we'll see you guys. Oh, by the way, Mastermind is next week, and excuse me, tomorrow. And tomorrow is our first hot seat webinar. So we're gonna have some students, Mastermind members, in the hot seat, and talking about their business, giving them advice on how to improve their business, and other than that, we'll see the rest of you on Hump Day Hangouts next Wednesday. So thanks for being here.
Boom.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.